Hello all, Onigato here for Oni in the Garden. We're going to start over on the left with the, hidden right now, the tomato, which is doing quite nicely, growing very well, especially for a volunteer, but should be seeing something off of it probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, right about the time we go on vacation. The apple tree, I need to get this thing staked out, just so it has something to support it. But it's looking really good. Begonia, it's a begonia. I need to transplant it, but whatever. Strawberries are moving along quite nicely. I did move this one here, but I think I told you about that last week. And it's doing well so far. So it's kind of bouncing back. Got some new growth in the center there, if you can see it. There we go. So that's good. The cabbage is, well, I'm just letting it grow, see what it does. I might just let it go to seed, just because, well, it's got to be hardened out to our territory, so that's good. The cucumber is giving me yet another, tear that flower off, while the muskmelon has not given me a blessed thing, or a cursed thing, or anything at all. It's vining all over the place, and, well, kind of problematic. To the right, these strawberries, looking very good, do need to be probably transplanted soon, considering how root bound the other one was, but they seem to be healthy enough as is, so. Lemongrass, looks like it's getting ready to be split again. Think probably next time I do a split with it, I'll end up moving some of it out of the pot and into actual around the house. The basil, doing quite nicely all over the place. Still not using it nearly as fast as I should. The mint is starting to put out runners again and expand out, and it's going to fill up this entire bed if I let it. The oregano is looking quite nice. There's a muskmelon down in here. At least I'm pretty sure it's a muskmelon. And it started vine out. So that's doing quite nicely. We'll hopefully see some growth off of that, and maybe a couple of melons themselves. The aloe. It's the aloe. What can I say? It needs to be transplanted, but I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, and I don't really have the reason. The onions are not doing spectacularly. They probably don't like the amount of sun they're getting or the amount of heat, and I'm probably doing something wrong with them. But it's an experiment. Okay, now for the raised bed. Had a couple of requests to discuss what's going on in the raised bed, why the raised bed, and what kind of suggestions might be used for other people trying to put in raised beds. So, the why is the raised bed, the wicking bed specifically, utilizes these French drains here to open up large reservoirs underneath the rock base. As you can see, the rock base here. When the reservoir is full, the rock will act as a wicking agent. You can kind of see how the moisture is moving up just a little bit all over the place. And it'll transfer oil, which will then proceed to wick it up even better. The pond liner is kind of a requirement for this particular system because I don't have any kind of a bottom on this thing. And if I didn't have it, I would just be watering the ground underneath, which in certain raised beds is not a problem. This is a wicking bed, so I need to have the pond liner. Any kind of like a rooftop or similar structure where you don't want water running off in large quantities, this would be the thing to use. Now, I still have yet to move the gravel and even it out, so that's a thing. But once I've done so, we're going to be punching a hole in the side of the tin and the rubberized mat, and I'm going to push a pipe out. Now that pipe is going to be capped, not capped, but it'll have a cloth cover of tarpaulin on the inside and on the outside, because I don't care if it drains out into the grass. That's just fine by my accountings. If you had some sort of system where you didn't want run out, or you wanted the run out to go to a specific location, pipe it to wherever you need to go. From there, I'm going to lay in a layer of, well, once I've got the gravel leveled out where I want it, and make sure the water level is where I need it to be, I want to put the tarpaulin right here down as just kind of a layer to prevent mixing, so that in the future, if I need to take this thing apart for maintenance or repairs, which I'm going to need to do eventually, just because that's a bush underneath there, and eventually it'll rot away and it'll collapse, and then I can level everything out. Once that's all done, I'll put the tarpaulin down. On top of that, I'll put dirt. Tarp is semi-waterproof, but it's permeable eventually. So the water will get through and soak into the soil. I might just use shade cloth instead, but I think I'm going to use the tarp. Because it's a medium tarp, it's not designed to hold the water forever. It will leak. Excuse me, hiccups. Then soil, compost, potting soil, whatever I get my hands on cheaply, and we'll feed it up over time. That will only get about a 2 or 3 inch layer for now, and as time goes, the bed will get more and more full. And once the bed is completely full, well, then we'll be good. We'll put plants in right away and just add layers of mulch over time as we can, and as that mulch decomposes down, hey look, I've got more soil in there, so that'll be good. I also plan on getting some compost worms into the box. They like it nice and moist, but not too moist. So yeah, the standpipe here leads into the French drain. It's I punched a hole in the French drain and installed one of these joints here. This is at the bottom, this is at the top. These two are just open and facing into the pipe itself. So if I put a water hose down there, I have a lot of output. So I don't have to worry about it backing up on me or anything like that. At least as long as I have it on a reasonable, output level. Once it is full, to my specifications, the excess will start to run out the end. I'll know to turn the water off, and I'll be done. That's what the overflow is for, specifically that, and to make sure that because the roof does pour into this, meaning that the bed is kind of to a certain extent self-filling with every rainfall. If it does fill up, I have an overflow. It doesn't turn into a swamp inside. Now, the question came through about beds up on top of roofs, and specifically about alternative options. I don't have any here, but there is an alternative option to having a wicking style bed with French drains or some other void. That option is what's called an Olas pot. What you have is unglazed ceramic. Actually, this is a really good way to show it. If you look at the moisture, it's being absorbed into this pot, and it'll slowly be released back out. This method, this has been used as an air conditioning unit method for thousands of years. It's not great, but it'll help cool things down just a little bit. But one thing that it also does is if you are trying to keep ground saturated, you fill up an Olas pot and you put it into the ground, and it'll keep the ground at exactly the correct amount of moisture for plants. There are professionally made systems that are available that keep a constant flow of water into the pots so that the pots are pressurized and the system just keeps recirculating the water. This allows for the system to just be constantly charged and, well, effective. No plant will ever get more water than it needs. No plant will ever be dry. If the system is properly built, the system, when it's pressurized, you will have basically a constant water system, and it won't ever fail you. I mean, you might have a blowout if one of the nozzles comes loose, but in the event that that happens, obviously you'll know about it. All you have to do is just put the nozzle back in. So, and seal it down really, really well. You can make a home system by basically taking, I want to show you on the ceramic pot here, even though it's not a good one, or on this glazed pot. Take an unglazed pot and the matching base for it. Pot goes upside down. The hole that is on top acts as your fill spot. You glue the pot onto the base, upside down, fill it up, stick it in the ground, fill it up. There's your Olas. Got to make sure though that it's unglazed. So if there's any other questions, I'm always available for questions. Go ahead and answer in the comments below. There we go. Or you can try to shoot me a PM. I can't guarantee I'll answer those right away, but I can certainly try. Talk to you all later.